If you had to use just one phrase to describe our first guest this week, this phrase would not be a bad choice. He just makes plays. Defensive back Matthias Farley started 11 games as a freshman during Notre Dame's undefeated regular season run to the national championship game in 2012. Since that season, Matthias has been in and out of the starting lineup, but has always been a key contributor with a willingness to do whatever the team needs him to do on any given Saturday. And he has put up some pretty good numbers along the way while playing every position in the secondary. Heading into the Boston College game, Farley is second on the team in career tackles with 180, behind only linebacker Jalen Smith. He has also picked off 8 passes. This, combined with his off-field leadership, earned Farley a captaincy this season. And just as important, Farley earned his Notre Dame degree in May. So once again, Jack Swarbrick is surrounded by football captains Matthias Farley and Joe Schmidt.
Thanks. Did I understand that intro right? Of my two guests, the leading tackler is Matthias Farley. Is that?
We got to factor in. Joe missed some time, which I think he would have surpassed.
I don't even
me.
know what to say.
Yeah.
Matthias, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks
it
for
really
having
is.
me.
It
Yeah.
really is. Your beard looks wonderful this morning.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. You know, Joe usually skips breakfast. Ditches me every Thursday morning, so it's nice to finally.
Well, now you
actually
know
get to
why,
hang
right?
out. No, it's a good cause. I like this.
It's amazing because now I've had, we had Jared on last week, which is another one of our best friends, and and now we have you, which is, really probably my closest friend on campus here.
It's like a circle.
But it is like a circle, but that wasn't always the case, right? I mean, we actually didn't start off on the right foot, which might be a little interesting intro here.
Yeah, well, so when I got here, I'm pretty. I'm outgoing. Joe's outgoing, and so Jack, this might come as a shock to you, but me and Joe, like you said, did not get along. It was mostly me. It's because we went to where did we go? We went to Parisi's or something.
I don't remember.
And it was like the first summer we were here. And I was sitting there, and I didn't really want to be there because I was like, I just want to go sleep. Like, there's cereal in the dining hall. Why are we here? And Joe took 25 minutes to order, and I was like, I don't like this kid. He was like, do you have any light balsamic? What oil do you cook it in? That's a lagoon, not a peanut. I was just like, all right, dude, this is too much. We're not going to be friends.
I'm glad we moved past
Yeah,
that.
no, it's huge. Yeah, absolutely.
How did we move past that? How did the relationship evolve over time?
I think it was one of those things where there was no real reason to not like each other other than me just being like, I don't like you. And so I don't remember the day, but one day it was just like, hey, what's up, dude? Let's hang out. And then we hung out, and then it was just, I don't remember.
We went to IHOP
That's what it was.
At
Yes.
11 p.m.
We went to IHOP,
Yeah.
and then we were there, and then his sister and brother-in-law picked us up, and then I got stuck with him, though. I don't think I intended to be with Joe. And then,
You were actually upset about this.
But we bonded really hard at IHOP, and then he gave me a ride home, and I was like, all right, Joe's a good guy.
The worst part about it was I didn't know that you didn't like me at the time.
Oh, yeah, that was the worst part because Joe thought we were friends.
I was like, oh, yeah, Matthias, my buddy. We're totally going to hang out. We'll go to IHOP, late-night pancakes. And
so much for self-awareness.
Yeah, so much for self-awareness.
I was like, the dining hall's closed. There's no cereal.
I was a young player.
I'll just go to IHOP.
young player.
Well, notwithstanding the ups and downs in your relationship, obviously you two guys have been critical elements of the success of the program. Captains on a team that set the record for most home victories of any class at Notre Dame. You must take special pride in being a leader and with that legacy.
No, absolutely. It's been the biggest honor of my life to be able to be a captain here. It's definitely an elite group of people. When you look back in history, the other people have worn the C. It's an unbelievable crowd to be in. And then this team, I think, is just special. Guys are really close. I think there's, 5 guys who have a C on their chest, but there's so many more leaders on this team. And it's not just the older guys. There's younger guys, sprinkled throughout that, really keep people accountable. And I think when you have that cohesiveness across the board, it really, leads to a special team.
Well, I know it's hard to – every team every year is different, right? 75% of the team is the same from year to year, but the personality of the team changes so dramatically. Can you put into words what produces the sort of tight-knit that this team clearly demonstrates?
Well, I think it is. There's a couple things. There's been a lot of younger guys, who have made a huge impact. So I think guys will look to them as leaders. And then just, Coach Kelly always says that you want the next senior class to take up where the last senior class left off and do it better, and then do it better and do it better. And we've had, as a senior class, we've had great examples of good leadership each and every year. So to build off that each and every year, I think that's why we are where we are right now.
You talked a little bit about younger players just there, and how they can build on the upperclassmen's legacy, if you will. You started in 2012 on a national championship team. How did you kind of mature through the process? Just for the people that weren't obviously there like I was, but how did you mature through the process and become you were a leader in that back end on that football team, but now you're a leader on the whole team, and really you're a guy that brings everybody together.
Well, I think it's just really taking what I saw as great leadership in like Capron, Lewis Moore, and Zeke and Jamoris, guys who took a lot of extra time out of their day to come see how I was doing, whether it was on the field or off the field. I mean, Jamoris got hurt in 2012. That's the reason I stepped in and started. And he would, be a couple days out of surgery, and he'd be like, "Hey, Matthias, you want to meet and watch film, or do you want to do this, or can I help you with anything?" So that had a huge impact on me of just how people cared. And so I try to take that and, as my careers progress, be that older voice for younger guys, because when you get here, you're unsure of yourself. I don't care what anybody says, how confident you are. It's definitely a whirlwind, especially when you factor in, being away from home, school, challenges all over the place. And so that's what had the biggest impact on me. And so I think as I've matured, I've tried to, turn myself into a guy like Jamoris or Zeke or Cap, who really had a huge impact on me.
Well, notwithstanding that you are a confident guy, you must have the challenge may have been as great for you as anybody, given that you only had 2 years of really competitive football experience behind you when you came here on a full ride, right?
Yeah. No, it was definitely a whirlwind when I started. I played soccer up until my junior year of high school. My junior year, I switched and played football. I mean, I didn't know anything. I ran around the first, 3 games with my helmet always popping off because I didn't know how to properly tighten my chin strap. Like, "Farley, why does your helmet keep coming off?" And I was like, "I don't know. It feels loose." Like, you can tighten it. And I was like, that would help. No, it is. And then, I played 11 games and then got a full ride here. And people
must be nice.
Yeah. It was
must be nice. I played 50 games. I got nothing.
Hey now. Are we grateful? Yes. No, so it's just a huge blessing to be here, especially never having it and, looking forward when I was younger to being, a football player at any level, let alone the greatest place on earth.
Yeah, and then you started as a receiver here too, right? I mean, it's unbelievable how you.
I played offense.
I was going to say the receiver part.
I had great hands. Did you have great hands? Yeah, horrible route running, and I was a bit of a tub back then.
You were a hefty guy.
Yeah, I took full advantage of that unlimited meal plan.
Oh my God!
What was that is an interesting journey. Not having your sights set on it and not being committed to football at an early age. And then it culminates a little bit last week with senior day. What was that like for you?
It was really surreal. I didn't really I'm sure Joe could talk to this as well. I mean, it really hit me later, and I got back home and I was like, wow. Like, last year I went through senior day and I had an inkling that I was going to come back. I wasn't positive, but I was like, I'm pretty sure. So I was sad to see everybody go. But this year it didn't really hit me until later that night when I got home, and I was like, this has been the most ridiculous journey anybody could have ever gone on, especially coming from the place I came and never thinking about playing football. My freshman year was my 3rd year ever playing. And then to run out on that field for the last time, it's sad, but at the same time, it's such a sweet thing to be able to have experienced playing football here.
And you had a lot of your family here, too, which had to have been special to share that moment with. You guys are so close.
Yeah, it was actually pretty cool. So my sister, Joy, she's like the family photographer. She takes pictures of everything. My mom has to tell her, don't post this. This is our moment. But she posted a picture on Facebook, and it was me signing my NLI, my National Letter of Intent. I don't know if everyone knows that NLI.
I don't know that.
Yeah, okay. But my brothers, Timon, Nathan, and Keenan, my 3 older brothers were all there. And then on senior day this past weekend, my 3 older brothers were there, so that was pretty cool.
Tell us a little bit about those family members, because there's a lot of interesting stories, including motivation for you and the experience of your siblings and sort of their own achievements. So take us through those siblings, will you?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of 7 children. I'm the 6th. So my oldest brother, Timon, he actually just moved back from San Diego to Charlotte, and he's working there with his wife Aisha. And he played college basketball at Charleston Southern, and then he transferred to Queens College in Charlotte, and then he went on to play in Italy for a few years before coming back and getting married. And then my brother Nathan played at Coastal Carolina, and he's, y'all have all heard about Nathan. I'm sure he's a huge reason why I played football, because he had it taken from him. And so he works in Charlotte. My sister Kara, she lives in Atlanta, and she works for the Gallo wine family down there. And she's just, she can tell you if a wine's been aged in an oak barrel or a steel barrel, oak chips. It's crazy. She's like, oh yeah, it's real smoky. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. And then my brother Keenan, he works in Charlotte as well. He played college basketball. My sister Joy, she worked in real estate. She still works in real estate in Charlotte, and she's done incredibly well with that. And then my little brother Silas, who is the easiest one to talk about. He's a professional dancer for the New York City Ballet Company. Unbelievably talented. He moved up there and he was 14 to be in professional children's school and then the School of American Ballet, and has just taken off.
Yeah, he's did me the favor of joining me for a speech in New York recently, and that caused me to look up Silas, and I encourage our audience to do it.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Do a Google search of Silas, and some of the language used in the reviews.
You got to get a dictionary.
Well, when the New York Times is saying the future of the New York City Ballet, you're thinking this guy's got some really special talent, as the whole family clearly does. You alluded to your brother's story who had football taken away, but not everyone does know that. So why don't you fill that in a little bit?
Yeah. So my brother Nathan. So backtracking a little bit, my parents wouldn't let us play football for the longest time. It didn't really affect me because I was a soccer player and I was really little. But my brother Nathan, when he got to high school, he really wanted to play football. My parents said no. And then he asked again, and they said no. And then he asked again, and they said no. And so finally they decided to say, all right, you know what? If that's what you want to do, then you can do it. We'll support you in whatever you want to do. So he went on and played, got a college scholarship, was doing really well, was starting a tight end, and got ear hold in the practice, and they found a tumor on the back of his brain, and it filled up with blood, and it was like the size of a golf ball. And so the doctor said he had concussion problems throughout. That was what it was from, but they didn't know. And so it filled up with blood, and so they, told him that he could either stop playing, because if he gets hit like that again, it could be fatal, or he could take the risk. And so it was pretty much a no-brainer. And I just remember being little and, going to his high school games and, all the other little kids run around and play on the monkey bars and don't really care about the game. I'd be glued. I'd be like, oh, it's so cool, because we could never do it. Right. I didn't really understand it. I just knew he was good at it, and they were on a good team and all that kind of stuff. And then we'd go to his college games, like 1 or 2 a year. We'd drive down to Myrtle Beach, and I just remember being in awe every time I would see him in shoulder pads, all this stuff. I was like, it's so cool, it's so cool, it's so cool. And then to see him have it taken from him, in that way, and how it affected him. And he still stayed involved. He still coached and all that stuff, but it just had a huge effect on him. And then, so when I told him, I was like, Nathan, I'm going to play football. He's like, oh, dude, do it. Because every time we talked about it, even when we play Xbox or something, he'd get all lit up about football. So my junior year, I switched over, and he surprised me at 2 games because he was living in Orlando, Florida at the time. And then my senior year, he left his job in Orlando and moved back to Charlotte so he could watch me play all my games.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's you've represented that legacy as you've represented this university with great skill and great care, and we appreciate all you've done to help lead this program. And thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Ty.
Yeah, see you, Joe.
See you a little bit later.
We'll be back in a minute.